Have you ever crossed paths with someone whose mere presence saps your vitality, twists your emotions, or leaves a trail of turmoil behind them? Evil isn't confined to fairy tales or blockbuster films. It's real. It's among us. And what's more unsettling, it often operates in the most subtle, insidious ways. But fear not. With a touch of vigilance, you can spot the red flags and shield yourself from harm. Evil individuals don't arrive adorned with horns or tails. Their true nature reveals itself through their deeds. They exploit your kindness, manipulate your trust, and wreak havoc for their own benefit. The silver lining: you don't need to be a sleuth to identify them. Ancient Stoic philosophers, like Marcus Aurelius, offered timeless insights on recognizing malevolence and fortifying yourself against it. In this video, I'll unveil 10 unmistakable signs that you're dealing with an evil person, indicators you simply cannot overlook. These revelations will arm you with the clarity and strength to preserve your tranquility and protect your energy. So, let's dive into this journey with confidence and awareness. Are you ready? Let's begin. 1. Relentless manipulation. Seneca once cautioned, "He who harbors many fears possesses many tools for manipulation." This isn't merely a reflection, but a stark warning about the potency of manipulation wielded by those with malicious intent. These people don't thrive on integrity or honesty. They prosper by warping reality, wielding lies as their sharpest weapon. I recall a time when I collaborated with a colleague I initially trusted. He was adept at showering me with praise in public, making me feel valued and seen. Yet, behind closed doors, he wove subtle tales, quietly undermining my efforts and magnifying trivial errors into significant issues for our superiors. When I sensed something amiss and confronted him, he remained composed, claiming he was only trying to help me grow. This made me doubt myself. Was I at fault? Was I misreading his intentions? I began questioning my competence. In truth, he wasn't aiding me. He was orchestrating a dynamic where I felt reliant on his guidance, as if I couldn't succeed without him. This is the essence of manipulation. It doesn't just confuse you. It erodes your self-assurance, making you question your worth. Manipulators don't forge bonds rooted in trust or authenticity. They prey on your insecurities, convincing you that they alone understand your needs and can steer you correctly. Stoic wisdom teaches us that the antidote to such tactics lies in clarity and self-mastery. A person of true virtue guides you toward independence, not ensnares you in reliance. If someone in your circle persistently nudges you to follow their lead while dismissing your boundaries or autonomy, it's a glaring signal to pause and reassess. Epictetus wisely noted, "No one is free who lacks mastery over themselves." By refusing to engage in their manipulative games, you reclaim sovereignty over your thoughts, choices, and actions. Mental clarity and self-awareness are your shields against their toxic sway. You don't need to debate or justify yourself. Simply step away from their web of control and cling to your freedom. Reflecting on this, I realized how often we overlook these subtle cues, hoping for the best in people. I once ignored similar behavior from a friend who always steered conversations to make me doubt my decisions, suggesting I needed their advice to avoid mistakes. It wasn't until I journaled about these interactions that I saw the pattern. Their help always left me feeling smaller. My advice: keep a record of such encounters, note what they say, and how it makes you feel. This clarity helped me confront my colleague calmly, saying, "I appreciate feedback, but I'm confident in my approach." It shifted the dynamic, and he backed off. Trust your instincts, and don't let anyone dim your inner light. 2. A facade of charm. Epictetus once reminded us that appearances, no matter how captivating, often conceal a darker truth beneath. Have you ever met someone whose charm felt almost too polished, as if rehearsed for a stage? Their dazzling smile, soothing words, and knack for making you feel extraordinary. It's like a flawless act. But when you step back and scrutinize closely, you may uncover motives far less sincere. Genuine charm is a beautiful trait. It fosters connection, builds trust, and nurtures authentic relationships. But in the hands of someone with ulterior motives, charm transforms into a lethal tool. They know precisely how to win your heart, disarm you with carefully chosen words, and present themselves as the ideal friend, partner, or mentor you've always longed for. Yet, their charm is hollow, a shiny veneer masking a bitter reality. Marcus Aurelius warned, "The soul takes on the hue of its thoughts." These individuals don't merely manipulate. They use their charm to cloak their true essence, selfishness, deceit, or worse. Pay attention to their behavior when the spotlight's off. How do they treat those who offer them no advantage? Words can be adorned with beauty, but actions paint the truest portrait of character. I once knew a friend who had an uncanny gift for making everyone feel cherished. He lavished compliments, convincing people they held a special place in his heart. But over time, I noticed his praise was strategic, designed to extract favors or loyalty. When he no longer needed someone, he'd withdraw, often speaking ill of those he once flattered. It was a stark lesson in discerning performance from sincerity. How do you break free from such enchantment? Don't dismiss the quiet unease in your gut. If you feel charmed yet unsettled, trust that intuition. These manipulators bank on your willingness to ignore red flags, to buy into the illusion they've crafted. Stoic philosophy urges us to seek truth beyond the surface. Genuine kindness shines without pretense, needing no mask. So, look past the dazzling facade and search for authenticity. I learned this when I questioned my friend's motives after he dismissed a mutual acquaintance he'd once praised. I asked, "Why the change in tone?" His vague response confirmed his insincerity. Authentic goodness doesn't require a disguise. Step beyond the glitter and anchor yourself in reality. 3. Deceit without remorse. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Nothing should be said unless it's true, and nothing should be done unless it's right." Yet, for those with malicious intent, truth is merely a hurdle to overcome. They don't lie carelessly. Deceit is their second nature, woven into their very being. Their lies aren't haphazard. They're meticulously crafted to achieve specific ends, whether to gain influence, dodge accountability, or distort your grasp of reality. Picture a friend who spins elaborate stories to bolster their credibility. I once knew someone who claimed she single-handedly spearheaded a critical project, taking full credit for its success. But when I dug deeper, reviewing emails and documents, the evidence told a different story. She'd exaggerated her role significantly. When I confronted her, instead of admitting the truth, she accused me of misinterpreting the situation, deflecting with unrelated details to muddy the waters. This is the hallmark of master manipulators. They make you doubt your memory, your judgment, even your sanity, subtly loosening your grip on what's real. They exploit your uncertainty, convincing you they hold the truth, thereby seizing control of the narrative. Their lies require constant maintenance, new layers of deceit to prop up the old. But here's their weakness. Truth is enduring, needing no upkeep, while lies are fragile, always at risk of collapsing. To protect yourself, hone in on inconsistencies. Do their stories waver under scrutiny? Do their actions align with their words? Stoic wisdom emphasizes focusing on deeds as they reveal a person's true character. When you detect discrepancies, trust your observations over their claims. My experience taught me to ask pointed questions. I started requesting specifics. Can you share the project timeline you managed? Her vague answers exposed the cracks in her story. Demand transparency, set firm boundaries, and don't hesitate to walk away when dishonesty persists. Honesty isn't just the bedrock of relationships. It's a mirror reflecting integrity. Stoicism reminds us that true strength lies in mastering ourselves and distancing from what undermines our values. So, when you encounter someone who lies without a shred of remorse, stand resolute, focus on their actions, and shield yourself from their tangled web of deceit. Another instance, a colleague once lied about meeting deadlines, blaming others. I began cross-checking their claims with team records, which empowered me to address the issue with evidence, preserving my peace. Fourth, absence of empathy. Seneca once remarked that we, as social beings, are not meant to exist solely for ourselves. Empathy forms the bridge that binds us, enabling us to share in each other's joys and sorrows. Yet, for those with malicious hearts, others are mere pawns in their self-serving schemes. They show no genuine concern for your happiness or pain unless it serves their own agenda. A lack of empathy isn't just a character flaw. It's a stark window into a hollow soul. Picture this. You're bearing your heart to a friend, sharing a burden that's been crushing you. Instead of offering comfort, they pivot, saying, "You think that's tough? Let me tell you about my week." They dismiss your vulnerability as insignificant, turning the focus back to themselves. This isn't a one-off. It's a pattern. These individuals are either unwilling or worse, incapable of stepping beyond their own interests to connect with your experience. Their detachment reveals itself in a chilling indifference, sometimes even a quiet satisfaction in your struggles, leaving an emptiness where compassion should dwell. Empathy isn't merely a desirable trait. It's the foundation of meaningful connections. Without it, interactions become transactional, one-sided, and emotionally exhausting. Malicious people exploit their lack of empathy to advance their selfish aims. They might feign concern when it suits them, but their true apathy shines through when their facade slips. I once confided in a colleague about a personal loss, expecting a shred of understanding. Instead, they responded with a curt, "That's rough, but life goes on," before changing the subject. Over time, I noticed they only showed care when it earned them favor, like when they needed my help on a project. Their indifference left me feeling invisible. Marcus Aurelius wisely counseled, "Cease debating what a good person should be. Embody one." So, how do you respond to such coldness? Establish firm boundaries to protect your peace and refuse to let their detachment diminish your worth. Seek relationships grounded in mutual respect and understanding, ones that uplift rather than drain. Surround yourself with those who rejoice in your triumphs and stand by you in grief. For true connection thrives on empathy, not exploitation. To shield myself, I began limiting interactions with that colleague, focusing on colleagues who listened and reciprocated. I also started journaling my feelings after such encounters, writing, "My pain is valid, and I deserve compassion." This practice helped me process their dismissal and reinforced my self-worth. If you encounter someone who consistently lacks empathy, step back and prioritize those who value your heart. Before moving to the next sign, if this video resonates with you, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell to stay updated on future content. If you're finding these insights valuable, as I do, drop a comment saying, "I see the signs," to keep this journey of awareness alive. 5. Craving for control. For a truly malicious person, control isn't just a preference, it's their lifeline. They seek to dominate every facet of their environment, from your relationships and thoughts to the smallest choices you make. Marcus Aurelius taught, "Your mind is yours to command, not external forces." Realizing this unveils your true power. Yet this power is precisely what evil individuals aim to strip away, knowing that controlling your mind grants them dominion over your life. I once knew someone who seemed trustworthy at first. Their advice appeared thoughtful, even caring. But over time, a disturbing pattern emerged. They laced conversations with subtle jabs, casting doubt on my decisions and making me feel I needed their guidance to succeed. When I considered joining a significant project, they convinced me I wasn't ready, urging me to let them take charge. At the time, I complied, believing I couldn't trust my own judgment. Looking back, it's clear they wanted to keep me tethered, ensuring I'd never outshine them. These individuals don't merely want to influence your actions. They aim to govern your thoughts and emotions. They wield guilt, shame, or flattery to foster dependence, uninterested in your growth. Their goal is to keep you within their grasp, eroding your autonomy over time. You start doubting your abilities, your worth, even your reality. Epictetus declared, "Freedom is life's only true aim, achieved by refusing control from what lies beyond us." Malicious people understand this and will stop at nothing to cage your mind, but you hold the key to liberation. Reject their games by asking, "Does this align with my values?" Use this question as your guide to reclaim your actions. Autonomy is your greatest asset. No one has the right to seize it. Reflecting on this, I recall another instance with a mentor who insisted on approving my career moves. Their guidance felt suffocating, always framed as, "for my benefit." I broke free by seeking advice from others and making independent choices, which revealed their control tactics. My strategy: document their controlling behaviors, specific comments, dates, and contexts. When I reviewed my notes, the pattern was undeniable, empowering me to confront them. I value your input, but I'm confident in my decisions. It shifted the dynamic. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "The quality of our thoughts shapes our happiness." Don't let anyone mold your reality or question your value. Protect your mind. It's the root of true freedom. Seek those who empower your independence, not those who chain you to their will. Stand firm and let your mind guide you to the liberty you deserve. 6. Mastery of blame and deflection. Seneca astutely noted, "People often favor trust over discernment." This is the very vulnerability manipulative individuals exploit. Rather than owning their actions, they spin tales that paint themselves as perpetual victims. By deflecting blame and shirking responsibility, they evade consequences while shifting the burden onto others with unsettling finesse. As Seneca observed, truth stands unwavering without defense, while lies demand intricate tales to survive. Imagine working with someone who never admits fault. I collaborated with a friend on a crucial project, and when it faltered, instead of acknowledging her oversights, she swiftly criticized my organization, framing it as the root of our failure. Her tone was so subtle, disguised as constructive feedback, that I questioned whether I was to blame. After repeated instances, I realized she was manipulating me into carrying the weight of every mistake. These individuals excel at distorting reality, clouding your judgment with narratives that make you feel culpable, even when they're at fault. They prey on your empathy and trust, crafting stories where they're always the victim, and you, somehow, the antagonist. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, truth needs no embellishment. When facing such people, maintain an objective stance, resisting the urge to let emotions sway you. Anchor yourself in facts, and don't hesitate to challenge false claims. I began verifying my friend's critiques by reviewing project records, which exposed her inaccuracies. Calmly but firmly, I demanded clarity. Can you specify what I did wrong? This disrupted her narrative, reinforcing my integrity. To navigate these blame games, set clear boundaries. Refuse to engage in their psychological ploys, designed to dodge accountability. I started documenting our project contributions, which gave me confidence to counter her accusations. Another tactic, redirect their deflection. When she blamed me, I responded, "Let's review the timeline together. What happened?" It forced transparency. Integrity and accountability define a strong character. When someone consistently avoids responsibility, their true nature shines through. Protect your peace by steering clear of their games. For example, I later worked with a team where blame was rampant. I proposed regular check-ins to clarify roles, which reduced finger-pointing and fostered trust. Stand resolute in your truth, ensuring their distortions can't unravel your reality. 7. Reveling in others' suffering. One of the most disturbing traits of a truly malicious person is the twisted satisfaction they derive from others' pain. Epictetus wisely counseled, "Seek those who elevate you." Yet these individuals have no interest in growth or support. They thrive on opportunities to degrade, finding perverse joy in the misery around them. Whether subtle or blatant, this toxic delight is a glaring signal to distance yourself. Their pleasure often starts small. A biting remark, a mocking chuckle at someone's misfortune, or a smug grin when witnessing another's failure. Over time, these actions unveil their true character. They don't rise through effort or merit, but by trampling those they diminish. I once knew a friend who seemed to relish recounting others' setbacks with unsettling enthusiasm. One day, she laughed openly when a coworker faced public criticism at work. Initially, I dismissed it as indifference, but as patterns emerged, I saw it was her way of feeling superior, amplifying others' struggles to elevate herself. Seneca once noted, "No one is unhappier than those who avoid adversity." For such individuals, however, adversity isn't a lesson, it's a weapon. Their joy stems not from meaningful achievements, but from watching others falter. They gossip, sabotage, or inflict harm to feed their ego, rooted in deep insecurity. They need others to suffer, to mask their inner voids. I recall another instance where this friend gloated over a mutual acquaintance's failed project, framing it as deserved. It chilled me, revealing her need to tear others down to feel secure. Stoic philosophy urges us to protect our self-worth and choose relationships that foster growth. Recognize these signs: indifference, fixation on failures, or glee in others' pain, and step away. Every moment in their presence steals your peace. To counter this, I began observing how people reacted to my own challenges. Those who offered empathy became my allies. Those who smirked like my friend, I distanced. Journaling helped. After her gloating, I wrote, "I deserve connections that uplift, not degrade." This clarified my boundaries. Surround yourself with those who celebrate your progress, not your pain. True joy arises from shared triumphs, not others' suffering. Seek relationships that inspire you to be your best self, as Epictetus advised, and let go of those who feed on negativity. 8. Isolation as a tool. Marcus Aurelius taught, "We are born to unite, our strength rooted in shared bonds." Yet, malicious individuals aim to disrupt this harmony, wielding isolation as a potent weapon. By separating you from loved ones, friends, or support networks, they weaken your emotional resilience, making you easier to manipulate and control. I had a friend who seemed warm and genuine at first. Over time, she began sowing subtle doubts about those closest to me. "Your best friend doesn't really value you," she'd say with a concerned tone. Or, "Your family doesn't get you like I do." Initially, I brushed it off, thinking she was just protective. But her remarks grew persistent, creating rifts and distancing me from my strongest anchors. This tactic is no accident. It's a calculated psychological ploy to foster insecurity and position themselves as your sole confidant. The more isolated you become, the greater their grip over you. I realized this when I felt increasingly alone, relying on her for validation. But here's what they fear you'll discover. True strength lies in connection, in the genuine bonds that ground you. Unity is the bedrock of resilience. If you feel detached from loved ones, pause and reflect. Trust your instincts and reconnect with those who matter. Friends, family, trusted allies. They are your foundation, keeping you steady amid chaos. Stoic wisdom reminds us we're not meant to exist alone. Authentic relationships are our power. To combat this, I reached out to my sidelined friends, apologizing for my distance. One coffee meetup rekindled our bond, exposing my friend's manipulation. I also set boundaries, telling her, "I value my other relationships, and I'd appreciate you respecting them." Her defensiveness confirmed her intent. Another strategy: join community groups to diversify your connections. I attended a local book club, which rebuilt my sense of belonging. Protect your ties, and you'll rise above their schemes, as Marcus Aurelius envisioned. 9. Envy masked as care. Envy is a corrosive force, but it's most dangerous when cloaked as concerns or goodwill. Seneca warned, "Envy is the soul's ulcer, and for those consumed by it, their words aren't meant to uplift, but to erode your confidence." These individuals can't bear others' happiness or success, hiding their jealousy behind seemingly helpful advice or compliments laced with doubt. I had a friend who appeared invested in my achievements. After I completed a major project I was proud of, she said, "That's impressive, but maybe next time aim higher to really stand out." At first, I took it as constructive, but her tone carried a subtle jab, diminishing my accomplishment. It wasn't support. It was a ploy to make me feel inadequate. These false compliments often blend praise with undermining remarks. A jealous person won't attack directly. They plant seeds of doubt, saying, "You did great, but don't get too excited. There's always room to improve." Or, "That's amazing, but I heard someone else did something similar, only better." This isn't kindness. It's a tactic to drag you to their level. Envious individuals can't celebrate your light as it exposes their own shadows. They don't want you to thrive. They want you to shrink, easing their insecurity. Stoic philosophy urges us to trust our intuition. If someone's praise feels off, probe deeper into their intent. A genuine person lifts you wholeheartedly. A jealous one uses words to control and diminish. I learned to counter this by affirming my worth. After my friend's comment, I journaled. My project was a success, and I'm proud. This grounded me. When she offered similar advice, I responded, "Thanks. I'm happy with my progress. Any tips for growth?" It neutralized her jab while asserting confidence. Another tactic is seek feedback from trusted allies. I shared my project with a mentor whose genuine praise drowned out her envy. Set boundaries and surround yourself with those who celebrate your victories, pushing you to soar. Don't dim your light to comfort others, as Seneca advised. Stand firm and let it shine. 10. A heart unwilling to repent. The clearest mark of an evil person is an unrepentant heart. Marcus Aurelius taught, "Don't waste time debating what a good person is. Act to better yourself." Yet, malicious individuals do the opposite, clinging to destructive habits, refusing to admit fault, and showing no intent to mend their harm. They live in denial, weaving elaborate excuses to justify their actions, as if the fault never lies with them. Think of someone who always has a reason for their mistakes. I knew a colleague who hurt others, but never apologized. When called out, they'd blame circumstances or claim others were just as flawed. If someone explained their pain, they'd deflect, accuse them of overreacting, or shift the narrative entirely. What stands out is their refusal to change. To them, self-reflection and amends are weaknesses, while stubbornness is strength, a mindset antithetical to Stoic values. A Stoic sees admitting mistakes and making amends as courage, a path to growth. Those with unrepentant hearts not only harm others, but reject personal maturity. I once confronted this colleague about spreading false rumors. Instead of owning up, they claimed I was too sensitive. Their refusal to reflect ended our professional trust. If you're near someone who justifies harm, avoids accountability, and never seeks repair, pause. Not everyone will grow or change. Protect yourself from such toxicity and invest in those who strive to improve. As Marcus Aurelius urged, we've explored 10 chilling signs of an evil person lurking in your life: manipulation, false charm, remorseless lies, empathy's absence, control, blame games, joy and pain, isolation tactics, veiled envy, and unrepentant hearts. Awareness is your greatest shield. These individuals can only harm you when their tactics go unnoticed. Once you see their strategies, you safeguard your peace and deflect their chaos. Marcus Aurelius taught that true power lies in mastering your mind and reactions. Don't let toxic people invade your mental space or disrupt your serenity. Set firm boundaries, stand tall, and keep shining. Your light is what they fear most. My journey through these signs wasn't easy. From the colleague who manipulated my trust to the friend who isolated me, each taught me to value my worth. Journaling, seeking genuine connections, and trusting my instincts transformed my circle. Now, I'm surrounded by those who uplift, not undermine. Take action. List those showing these signs, confront or distance them, and affirm daily, I choose relationships that honor my value. Join communities, online forums, local clubs that align with your principles. I found a Stoic discussion group that sharpened my clarity. Your peace is worth protecting. If this video struck a chord, hit like, subscribe, and comment. I see the signs to signal you're ready to stand against negativity. Thanks for watching. See you next time, where we'll keep growing in wisdom.